Hi, it's Etharal here, and today we are back with our Stellaris Twilight of the Imperium, or Warhammer 40,000 cosmetic mod, where we have been playing as the Tau Empire in a new sector of the galaxy, trying to look to expand and bring it solely under our control with any luck. We have seen quite a fair bit of expansion over the past couple of episodes, and what I've been doing is I've been building up some spaceports in my other planets, with basically the intention of being able to turn around and therefore use these planets to be able to supercharge our sort of colonization efforts, our fleet building and everything like that. You can see our fleet, we can do an extra sort of 50, 60 or so to that. So there is a lot of extra ships that we're going to be able to bring in, and having that flexibility to be able to build more than one ship at any one time is really going to sort of start to see an influence on the game, particularly as we do head into the later phases where we are going to be looking at potential wars. That is something that we are going to need to address. We are going to need to make sure that we can be bringing the ships up to the front line at a reasonable speed and, well, faster if at all possible, basically. So that has been our main focus at the minute. There is a fair bit going on as well. We are steadily, well, I say steadily, not so steadily, running out of room for expansion. We have pretty much moved more or less straight to the edge of the sector, and from that we have no real choice but beginning to expand outwards, which will bring us into contact with the rest of the races in this sector, and potentially some that we haven't seen yet, as well as ones that we are already aware of. Now, this is going to be a bit of an interesting issue for us to begin to deal with, as we do believe our fleet is a respectable size. I mean, it isn't exactly a small fleet. It's got, you know, a strength of, I mean, what, 8,000? So, you know, it is a very strong sort of fleet that we've got here, but it's not as powerful as it could be. There's a lot more options that we really could bring to the game if we did so want to, and I think that's where we need to really be looking at going next and preparing for that. And possibly as well, if we could increase our naval capacity, begin to look at actually splitting these forces down to two separate fleets. So rather than having it as one big fleet that's going to come around and smash everybody, which, don't get me wrong, is not a bad thing, that is definitely good to have, but potentially also have some smaller fleets as well, fleets that are able to deal with maybe smaller issues, you know, things like the guys who are moving here when there's alerts from various NPCs and things like that. I mean, one of these ships is, you know, 1,300. That would be enough to take on a fleet of these other guys very easily, as you can see here. I mean, that asteroid there doesn't do any damage, but it was a great way to test against this fleet here, and they just destroyed it. You know, the amount of damage that fleet is now, the first fleet is putting out, is considerable, and there's a lot of options that we do have there to be able to do in the future. Now, just having a look around here, you can see that we are looking at expanding here in the south area. We have got a lot of options. We are going to be trying to bring our fleet, once we have managed to expand it to its full strength, down to here to mop up these areas which we can't get to because there are enemies in there, and our science vessels cannot get into those without having cleared those out first, which is something that we are going to be aiming to do. And also as well, we have got to our west of our area, we have got a fair few bits of land that we are choosing from as well. Here we are though just mainly trying to focus on improving our actual colony sectors that we have at the minute. I know that there is obviously a planet limit for myself for 5. I'm not sure how that quite translates over to the sectors, but you know what, we're going to give it a go. We're going to put the sectors up to 6 where we are able to, and we'll see what we can take it from there and how that will affect it. I think it is going to be a case of the Ricer sector, which is the second one that we set up, the one up in the north area. We may need to look at actually reducing this down. So it does have quite a few other planets that we could expand it into, which we would like to take some of those, and I think it's going to have to be a case we're going to have to spend a bit of influence, move that sector around a little bit as it does grow. There's a lot of opportunities for it to grow. It's a lot bigger than I think I'd originally planned for it to be, but that is something that we can resolve at a later date. We are actually at a point where we're getting +4 to our influence now as well, so we are earning a fair bit of money, enough to be certainly a respectable amount and be able to colonize at an increased rate and everything. We are very much outside of the woods now of when we were back at getting just the, +1 at any one time and things like that. So that is a pretty good situation for us to find ourselves in that respect. I think there is still some more options that we could do in it, and sorting out the ricer sector and also sorting out this third sector, our fourth sector to the east as well. I think that one is something that we're going to need to focus on and really try and bring in. There is a nice little tidbit here that I've just noticed as well, is that you will notice that our borders are pretty much entirely expanded around these guys, and I think as our borders begin to expand further with influence, we are going to see those guys eventually getting crushed and basically brought into us and completely surrounded to the point where they might as well just be part of the Tau Empire, which is our ultimate goal. How well that will go, I don't know, but, they are orcs, so they're not always thrilled about having to do things like that, but we'll see how that one goes at a later date. Here, we're just going to move our science vessels back. I think we've expanded far enough here and had enough look at enough planets. Really want to try and bring them back to sort of ones that are actually we're going to be able to expand to. I think it is very likely that some of these more northern ones are going to be actually we are going to be able to sort of get to them, but there is a good chance that by the time that we do get to those, it will have been the Eldar that will have actually taken those anyway. So I'm starting to wonder whether actually having a science vessel up in that northern area now, because of the amount that they've already taken, whether there is actually going to be any benefit of searching any further. Sure, there'll be research projects that we'll be able to get, but that's not really benefiting us as much. The main sort of research projects that we do seem to find tends to be that just unlock an extra ability for that one said planet, which is not something that is going to benefit us if then ultimately the Eldar are the ones that end up getting the actual planet itself. There's that sort of time for the potential gains, weighing that up. It's really not something that's going to pay off in our best interest. Here though, down in the far sort of west area of our empire, things are looking very different. There's a lot of options up here. As you can see, there are some nice green planets, orange planets and red planets, so we've got a lot of options for where we can go there. See here that we do actually have managed to discover a new empire. This one is an shall we say, a pretty powerful empire. It is not massive, which is kind of strange, but the just sheer power of it is overwhelming. It does seem to be, even though it isn't a very powerful, very large empire, it is a very dense empire, which, it's taken time. It's probably developed all of its areas that it possibly can. Here as well, you can see that the actual Eldar fleet here seem to have actually managed to take that area which was actually once part of us, so it's good to finally have that. Well, not good to finally have that, it's actually quite bad to finally have it, but that was not really actually a planet and system that we were ever going to really do anything with. So at the same time, it's not the end of the world. I can live with them having taken that one. We are steadily trying to bring it more into a situation where we can hopefully take those Eldar. I think we're still not quite there yet. There's still a lot more stuff that we need to do before we can look on taking on those Eldar, whether that be potentially looking at maybe trying to get an ally with the Steel Legion or something along those lines, which I think with having them as an ally, we could then certainly take the Eldar very easily. Or whether it might be a case of just quite simply ourselves needing to improve us to the point where we can take them down without much risk or anything like that to ourselves. There's those two different ways that we can go. I'm not too sure which one we're going to go with just yet for the minute, but we will continue on the path that we've got at the minute, sort of trying to make the focus on ourselves and expanding ourselves to the point where then eventually we can take those on. But I think maybe the alliance option may be something that I need to explore. I've not actually done very many alliances and things like that. Well, I haven't done any alliances really in this game up to date with any other, playthroughs that I've tried. So if anybody has done any of those, please do be sure to let me know how they've gone. If you do have any suggestions for that, that's something I'd certainly be very interested in. And obviously, if you do want to see how that Ultimate War will go, do be sure to subscribe here at EGN and obviously get your notifications for when they are coming out. So back to this game, we are again just expanding. We've decided to move our fleet further out. We're going to start to capitalise on the benefits of this fleet, of actually being able to use them to attack these sort of guys. I mean, there you can see that's a 450 guy. We're at 10,000. They're not going to stand very much of a chance here, and it's going to be very much a case that they are going to be wiped out very, very quickly. We'll just have a quick shot to see. Yep, see, they don't even think they got a chance to shoot at us. If they did, you know, it was negligible at best, basically. So this fleet is really probably more powerful than it needs to be for dealing with actual, you know, enemies, just the generic NPC sort of enemies that are not really part of an actual empire or anything like that. But this way it's going to reduce the amount of damage that we're getting though as well, so there's not going to be too many issues there of any actual problems. Here you can see then there as well, something we're going to get 9 months and 10% extra naval capacity. That, I mean, naval capacity at the minute we're at 161. You're looking at, you know, 100 and so an extra 16, so 177, give or take. That is a large naval capacity that we've got already. We really do need to focus, I think, on that one some more as well. Not for any massive reason. I mean, we don't really need to, but it is a nice thing to have. And I mean, with this large fleet here now, we are actually at the point where we can, because of the sectors, because of the amount of money that we're bringing in, we actually can benefit from this. This is, you know, this is money that we can actually support this size of a fleet. And I think that as that fleet does continue to grow, it's at 124 at the minute, but it could get even higher, to be honest. I think we could support it quite comfortably higher. I mean, we're putting up, you know, colonies at the minute. We're sending out a lot of colony ships. We're still on a plus 26 energy credits. I mean, I don't even really consider the minerals anymore. That's, you know, yeah, we don't have any problems with minerals, and I haven't built any new mineral places in a very, very long time, really, other than on actual planets themselves. Money is the main focus that we do need to be focusing on, though. It's still one, I mean, it's getting there, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I say, I'm not at the point where I'm at a deficit. I'm actually hitting the upper maximum, and I'm still able to potentially produce more energy credits, but there is a case that we could still, as this fleet does increase, we will begin to see some certain drop off with that, especially now I'm going to try upgrading this fleet. So this fleet, I mean, it totals out at the minute as around about 12,000, so it'll be quite curious to see what it is after we've actually upgraded this fleet. I mean, the upgrading the fleet, well, it's going to take, I mean, over 2 years near enough. Yeah, so just under 2 years to upgrade this full fleet. So, you know, that is going to take a long time. I'm really hoping that we're going to see some real benefits from that. So going up from, as you can see there now, 13,300, I believe it is. Yep. And going up from 13,300 maybe to, you know, 15, 16,000 at least, if not more, would be the ideal. I'm not sure how that one's going to go, but we'll keep an eye on that one. I'll probably time skip ahead and get that out of the way before, though, we do start with the next one. Then we'll be able to see a nice like-for-like comparison for that one, really. So that is sort of my plan for the minute, to get that fleet up to the full naval capacity, and then from that naval capacity, when we're hitting that full amount, we will then be able to look at, I think I'm going to try and see what we can do about sort of establishing the next war to be able to take the Eldar. I think that's going to be my next real main aim. And you can see that it seems to actually, just quick note, seems to be an actual bug in the game of something missing. So not the end of the world, that one though. So that's, I think, going to be the next aim, to bring this war that I've been talking about for a very long time, and I think it's about time that we accept it. It's going to happen. And you know what? The Eldar, they're probably not going to be the ones to start this war. So I think we may have to give it a bit of a go ourselves, give them the push that they need to ultimately be able to come and attack us, or we'll attack them. We'll see which one goes and take it from there. So that's pretty much where I am going to leave it for today. So thank you very much for your time. I've been Etharal here at eGen, and if you do want to see future videos for this content and everything, please do be sure to subscribe here. I put out videos more or less at least, you know, twice a week. I'm looking at 2-3 times a week, if not more at the minute, and trying to get one every day when and as I'm able to. So that you don't miss those or any other future content videos, do be sure to subscribe here at eGen. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.